Petrol prices in Mumbai are around 110. In Delhi, it is around 104. The diesel price in Mumbai has crossed 100, while it is hovering around 93 in New Delhi. When you compare this with China, the petrol prices are around 91. And if you compare petrol prices in Sri Lanka, it is around 70. Unfortunately, petrol prices are very different from Sensex, and probably inversely proportional to our happiness index. So, why are prices gradually increasing in India and at such a fast pace? It depends whom you ask this question. You will get typical answer from prices of crude to certain taxation policies that India has implemented. I'm Sachin Dave, Senior Assistant Editor with the Economic Times, and I'll take you through the ABC of taxation on petrol and diesel and what this means for India and the prices of diesel and petrol going ahead. Petrol and diesel prices are decided by 3 to 4 factors. The first factor is the price of the crude. That is, at what price does India manage to get raw crude? The second is the central levies or the excise duty that the central government slaps on petrol and diesel. The third is the state levies or value-added tax or some other cesses that the state governments put on petrol and diesel. And last, the dealer commissions or refining costs also impact the petrol prices. These are 4 major factors that affect price of the petrol that you get on the petrol pump. Probably around 2010, the Indian government decided that they need to do something about petrol prices. Before that, what used to happen was that the Indian government would subsidize petrol and diesel. So, say for instance, the price of petrol is around 50 rupees that you get at the petrol pump. The government might just be putting in 25 rupees as subsidy. So, if that subsidy is removed, you would actually get the petrol at 75 rupees. Over the years, the government realized that this is probably not the right way to go about it. Because what was happening was this used to impact the fiscal deficit of the government or the expenses that the government incurs. Most governments realized that this 25 rupees could be better utilized in something else. Over the years, the government has removed the subsidy gradually, and currently we do not have any subsidy as far as petrol and diesel is concerned. So what this means is that the cost of price in some way reflects the market price that it is sold at globally. However, there's a catch to it. What the government does is it buys crude from Saudi Arabia or wheresoever. The prices of crude have gone up substantially since October last year. Crude was sold around $35 a barrel in October 2020. As of today, it is sold at $80 a barrel. So the prices, the market price at which you get your petrol will be impacted because of this. On top of it, the government of India slaps taxes. So if you look at, say, Maharashtra, the total taxes that are slapped on petrol is about 65%. So about 35% is the taxes that are collected by the central government. The remaining taxes are put or are slapped by the state government in terms of value-added tax. This is something that the government has been doing gradually, and this is something that many economists have been objecting to because they say that this could directly impact the inflation of the country. Many industry experts have been saying that petrol should be brought under goods and services tax or GST. Now, one wonders how will this help? For one, the GST rates are fixed. The highest GST slab is at 28%. which means even mathematically, the taxes will come down from about 50 to 65% to 28%.
So when we talk of including the petroleum products in the GST net, we have to ensure that the rates that are decided at that point of time are kept at a lower level. Equally, the larger benefit for most businesses would be the fact that under the present regime, where petroleum products attract excise duty and VAT, user industries are not permitted to take input tax credit. To that extent, the tax becomes a cost, and that cost gets passed on through the supply chain. Once we move them into GST, all the user industries will be able to get a credit of those. And that is what will be really, really beneficial to everyone.
Most of the industries are pushing the government to bring petrol and diesel under GST. Main reason for this is that the tax collection for the government will go down substantially. As of now, the government collects around 4 lakh crore every year from petrol and diesel taxes. This will go down substantially if the tax rate goes down. That is the main reason. In the short run, even the state governments will see their tax revenues go down substantially. Not just that, the states are also worried about their fiscal independence. So what does that mean? Which means that as of now, if say a state of Maharashtra wants to slap a metro tax or a metro cess on petrol or diesel prices, they can do that easily. They just need a state legislation for that. Going ahead, if petrol were to come under GST, the state of Maharashtra will not be able to do that. However, the way GST is collected is split into 3 parts. Not going into the detail, a part of it is collected by states as well, while a part of it they get it from the center. Now, this would also mean that the states will have to depend more and more on the center, and the fiscal independence that they talk about will be impacted. The government in the past had tried to bring in ATF or aviation fuel under GST. So one wonders, is there a way forward? Well, the basic thing that can happen is if the crude prices were to go down. However, even when the crude prices in the past have gone down, the government has dragged its feet to reduce the petrol and diesel prices. What it does is it increases the tax levies and increases the revenue. Then what is an alternative? The alternative could be if India gradually moves towards electric vehicles, but that will take a long time. The other alternative that could happen is what the government is suggesting as of now. That is increasing the ethanol percentage. Ethanol is essentially a chemical that is derived from sugar or from other agricultural products. Now, one of the biggest concerns that many have raised is if you start doing that, it could directly impact the inflation, the food inflation the country faces. While this is debated both sides and one doesn't really know whether there is a direct impact on food inflation, but this is definitely a concern. So the government is hoping to increase the ethanol percentage to 20% in the total petrol, which would mean that the impact of the crude price might just come down. Now, one of the other things that we discussed earlier is bringing petrol under GST. Although there are political opposition to that, even the center may not want that in the short run, but that seems to be one of the long-term measures that India can really take, and that will really impact the petrol prices going ahead. I'm Sachin Dave, Senior Assistant Editor, Economic Times.